Mani for such a wonderful introduction written by me. Well, it is said that a small light is enough to light the entire jungle. And I say, a small story is enough to make your speech influencing, impactful, and empowering. But you really got to understand one thing here, that there is something more to it. Well, I'm on a mission to create 1 million speakers in India by 2030. And I know for a fact that professional speaking is the next big thing in India. It reminds me of my childhood days when I used to watch cartoons. I used to watch different television serials, read comics like Billu, Pinky, and watch serials like He-Man, Tom and Jerry, Gaya Baya. And then there were television serials like Panchatantra Ki Kahaniyan, Alif Laila. Since that time, I know for a fact that stories have impacted me and my life. But I never know and never realized the power until I came into this profession, where stories evolve action. Stories are connected to your brain. Stories empowers you. Stories drives you. In the year 2005, there was a gentleman who uploaded his first video of 19 seconds. And the title of the video, Me at the Zoo. And it got viral. And he's none other than the co-founder of YouTube, and his name is Javed Karim. He's a German Bengali. And later in the subsequent year, in 2006, they sold out YouTube to Google at a whooping amount deal of 1.65 billion US dollars. And then in 2009, he also became one of the seeding investors in Airbnb. Why am I telling this to you? Everyone is not fortunate like Javed Karim. There was nothing to his story video, nothing. But we all need to understand the stories which we use as professional speakers or as public speakers. We've got to really understand that there is a structure behind the story. And it has logic to it. And that logic is simple. It impacts your biological growth of neuroscience. I remember I used to think that these advertisements of 30-40 seconds, it used to get like 1 hour, half hour or 2 hours to create these advertisements. But later on, when I realized that to create any content of a lesser time frame, it requires actually more time. And the same applies to a speech. You are asked to deliver a speech of 10 minutes. But believe you me, I'm sure you have done some preparation. Yes or no? Yeah? So there was this advertisement which I observed very carefully, and I connected to the discovery of the 2 important elements of story science, which I also use in my different sessions which I deliver. So this advertisement, back in 2013, if you remember, there was this advertisement of Dairy Milk chocolate, कुछ खास है जिंदगी में. You remember that? It started like this. कुछ खास है जिंदगी में, कुछ बात है जिंदगी में. So it started like this. And then there was a story of 40 seconds. And the story was pretty simple. The batsman who was just playing, he was waiting for the ball to come, and he wanted to hit it hard because he was batting at 99 and he wanted to complete his century. And then what happened? The story was short in clicks. The first click, the bowler was coming with a fast pace action, focusing on the batsman. And the batsman, the next clip, was focused on the batsman who was preparing to either take a single or a ball. If it's coming on the bat, you just want to hit hard. And then the third focus was on the scoreboard, which was showing 99. And the fourth focus was on the girlfriend who was sitting at the backyard eating a dairy with chocolate. And then the fifth focus, again coming on the batsman, the ball was coming on the bat and the ball was hit with a pull shot. It was going to the fielder was underneath it, but the ball crosses the rope. It was 6. And his girlfriend started feeling overjoyed. She came in the ground, beating all the security guards and just starting and dancing like this. So that gave me two things, two basic elements of storytelling from that small clip of advertisement. And by the way, we all are sold out for dairy milk. And those two important elements, the first one is the oxytocin. Oxytocin in the brain that creates the feeling of empathy, celebration, the feeling of happiness, friendship, love. The second element, which is important, it is the endorphin, which creates the feeling of success, triumph, overcoming hardships. So these two elements I noted and observed and discovered that actually these are the main important key aspects of any story, and that's the science behind it, because it connects to the neurological nerves, those synapses happening in the brain actually. And then there's another instant which I want to share with all of you. Am I allowed to share a small story with all of you? Yeah? In the year 2018, I got a call from a lady. Hey Sherry, I want you to come and deliver a session here with all the employees of my corporate. And she was calling from big corporate and she was heading the HR. I felt, wow. And the next day when I went there, when I entered the office and I tried to open the door, at that time I was not clear what is going to happen next. Because I was absolutely not sure that this is going to be one of the worst days of my life. Anyways, I entered the door and that lady came, we interacted, and she hurriedly said, Sherry, you don't have to do any demonstration with me. We have 3 people inside whom you have to cater for. I said, well, it doesn't happen generally in the formal meetings. You are usually aware that you are going to meet somebody and you are aware of it. Anyways, I said, okay. And then we continued the discussion. And as the discussion progressed, she said, there are 3 promoters in the room sitting behind the cabin, and they all are ex-military men. And they are not interested in training. I said, come on, why am I here then? And she said, actually they are not convinced that training should happen in the organization. Most of the employees are actually convinced that training should happen. So you really go to them and just convince them that training is important. And I said, okay. And I started walking towards the room. She said, are you able to see that white door? I said, yes. She said, just behind that white door you will find the cabin. I said, okay. I started walking, and half the way mark when I reached, she called me, Sherry. And she said, what if I don't tell you what she said? Is it annoying? Well, as an example, I will definitely miss out what she said. But are you having the feeling of focus right now? Yeah? Are you having the feelings of that picture, how these 3 people will look like around? Yeah? So, I actually walk you through the feelings of dopamine, which motivates you. The first element we discussed was oxytocin, which creates the feeling of love, friendship, empathy, celebration. The second, endorphin, where we created the feeling of success, we created the feeling of overcoming hardships.